What's going on with it, guys? Welcome back into another video. I wanted to start off and kind of apologize for coming out with this recap a day late. Usually I make it the night of the game, but I'll be honest with you, there are times where I am very happy that I'm not like an employee of a company that's like a sports media company that, I had to cover the Jaguars and whatnot. Luckily, I'm just a YouTuber and I'm not like I don't have to meet like requirements and stuff like that because there are games after yesterday's game where I literally just tuned everything out. Like I didn't listen to any Jaguars post game yesterday. I didn't watch any press conferences yesterday. I pretty much stayed off Twitter just because Twitter, Jaguars Twitter is kind of a madhouse after these games. And I just went there and I just kind of watched NFL Red Zone, man. It was just kind of ignored, kind of pretended the Jaguars didn't exist and just kind of watched some, football as a true NFL fan. And then later on, I watched the White Sox, which is why I'm representing them. And just kind of took the time off. And this morning, I just kind of caught up with everything. And with what's going on with the Jaguars right now, man, it's a little bit mind numbing. And I just can't seem to pinpoint what exactly is wrong with the team. Yeah, I mean, obviously, right now the Jaguars. I mean, we're 0-5, and it's nothing surprising about being 0-5. The Jaguars are kind of lacking true talent right now, and especially kind of on the defensive end. And we kind of know that. Look, we weren't really going anywhere anyway. But the thing that's troubling is that I just don't know right now if our biggest issue is the lack of talent. You know what I mean? I don't know if that's the biggest issue right now. Because I look at it, man, and it's crazy some of the articles that kind of come out. And obviously, last week, really the whole entire NFL season, we're getting Urban, all the national people. Urban Meyer's terrible. Urban Meyer's a train wreck. He needs to be gone. And then obviously, after last week, you basically, after the whole dancing video, then all of a sudden you get stuff like Urban Meyer needs to be fired. Is Urban Meyer going to be fired after this game? Is Urban Meyer going to be fired after London? And we're getting a lot of that kind of in our brains right now, and it's skewing a lot of our thoughts, including myself. I'm sitting here like, does Urban Meyer make it after London? Like, I don't know. A lot of times where there is smoke, there is fire. And I'm sitting here like, okay, Urban Meyer, is he done after the Dolphins if the Jaguars do go 0-6? But then you take a step back from a true, from a true standpoint of we're a rebuilding team. First year head coach, first year OC, first year DC, we have everything different. And you're going to get rid of a guy after just going 0-6? I mean, when you think of it from a logical standpoint, it's like, why would they do that? And I don't know if it's just the fact of like, because we all know like the national media hates Jacksonville. They hate Jacksonville. They hated the fact that the Jaguars got Trevor Lawrence, and then now they have a guy that's kind of easy to go after and bully with Urban Meyer. But how much of this stuff is actually substantial kind of stuff? I mean, when I look at the team, obviously, I think where Urban Meyer hurts himself the most is in his post-game press conferences because, I mean, sometimes he just sounds like an idiot. I mean, first of all, he looks down at his feet, doesn't make any eye contact with anybody. He looks like he just hates to be there. You look at it and he says Trevor Lawrence isn't comfortable with quarterback sneaks yet. And then later on, Trevor says, yeah, I'm comfortable with that. Yeah, he talks about Miles Jack not being very good when it comes to him getting the calls in his helmet. But they know in years past that's already been kind of out there. He's proved that he's better when he's not taking the calls, when all he has to do is worry about being a playmaker. And just different things like that. And the fact that when it comes to Darrell Bevel and some of his play calling, he says, look, I don't micromanage things like this. If a call comes in, I don't really override it. And, maybe in the past he hasn't done things like that because obviously one great thing about him that you see in college is that he's had excellent coordinators. You know what I mean? Even back to, Dan Mullen was with them at Utah. Then later on, University of Florida. Later on, even at Florida, this isn't a popular name, but even like Steve Adazio later became a head coach at UConn. I think Temple also, I forget. And then also most recently Ryan Day. So he's had coordinators that look like, these guys are big time guys and they're going to go on to coach blue blood college programs. But Darrell Bevel is not that. Darrell Bevel has a very low ceiling. You know what I mean? I mean, he's been offensive coordinator here, there, you know what I mean? And it seems like that's kind of his role in the NFL. He's been an interim, but, never actually got the role of a head coach job. And it just feels like Darrell Bevell is not the future of the Jaguars when it comes to an offensive coordinator. Um, you know what I mean? And then just some of his play calling is just god awful. And um, a lot of it, it's like, what are you doing, man? And this last game was really a train wreck from the start. Obviously, the Darren Arnold fumble recovery for touchdown. Man, it just got us down early, and then we can never catch up. And is this the lowest point as a Jaguar fan right now? I don't think so. Honestly, I mean, obviously we're on a 20-game losing streak. I mean, I rooted for 15 of those losses, so we're like 0-5 right now. It's obviously a really bad losing streak, and we want to kind of break it. But, if we don't get this 20-game losing streak, we don't have Trevor Lawrence. And, the ultimate fact that we have Trevor Lawrence, I feel positive about. You know what I mean? Because if Urban Meyer is not the guy, get a new coaching staff in here, get one of these hot guys. There's a lot of hot candidates, you have the Brian Dable, Joe Brady, Eric Bieniemy, these guys. I mean, you can get these guys in here. It's just, at the end of the year, they have to have a conversation with Urban Meyer and just say, like, okay, because I don't know what firing Urban Meyer does in the middle of the season. I don't know what that does. Like, just let him play it out, see where he is, see if he can kind of figure out the NFL. I mean, right now, I think that the growth to maturity is a lot harder than him. Really, the NFL is a lot harder than he thought it was. And I don't know if he's necessarily loving it right now. So at the end of the season, he just needs to have a talk. Shad and Urban need to have a talk. Like, okay, are you in this 100%? What did you think about your first season? Like, are you going to be able to be here and build up this team, and build up the Jaguars? And look, if the answer is no, then they have a handshake and they move on. You know what I mean? And it's just a lost year with the head coach. But at the end of the day, man, Trevor Lawrence is the ultimate bright spot of this team. I mean, Trevor Lawrence played a great game. You know what I mean? I mean, he was killing it. He was making incredible throws. He was running the ball really well. I mean, that's the ultimate bright spot is Trevor Lawrence. But we just have to make sure we get the right crew in here to kind of to coach him. I think the offense coordinator sucks. I mean, some of this play calling has just been horrible. This is the goal line situations. Like, what the hell is going on over there? With these, goal and goes from the ones. It's like, dude, come on. And I mean, when it comes to the defense, the defense, the strategy was, all right, target Chris Claybrooks and Trey Herndon, and that's what they did. I mean, I don't think you can coach Chris Claybrooks any better than you can. I mean, he's just not a very good player. It's unfortunate, the whole CJ Henderson thing. They tried to make it work. It just didn't. He just wasn't super dedicated. Whatever, we can talk all about CJ Henderson. It's all out there. We all have our own theories, but it just flat out didn't work out. And I was happy that they did finally bench Chris Claybrooks and put the next guy in because, I mean, I just haven't seen a lot of benching in the past, so it was kind of good to see that and kind of see him not. I don't think he saw the field after him getting benched. But, yeah, the Jaguars yesterday, I mean, James Robinson, incredible day. He had 150-plus rushing yards, I think it was. He had a touchdown. Trevor Lawrence, I thought, obviously played a great game. The officiating in this game was horrible. I mean, and I'm not going to blame them for a loss because, you put yourselves in these different situations. But, I mean, you have Gene Steratore or whatever the former official kind of come in there and, everything he was saying, the refs were calling the opposite. I mean, there's a former ref coming in there saying, okay, I'm going to call it this way. Then the refs come out there and call it opposite. It was just and some of the calls that they missed. I mean, the officiating, what a horrible job by them yesterday. And, the defense, terrible job, obviously. I think Kalo and Chason finally had a little bit better of a day. But, I mean, we just couldn't stop them. I mean, we couldn't stop them for the life of us. And, it was just a rough game. So, like I said, it's hard to pinpoint exactly what's wrong with the Jaguars. And, obviously, it kind of comes up to all the way up to Shad Khan. I mean, Shad Khan, a lot of people really hate him. And I don't think, it's sad to say, but I mean, he tries. It's not like he goes out there and doesn't spend the capital, doesn't spend the resources. He just doesn't make great hires. And I don't know, man. I don't know. And then obviously a lot of people are kind of complaining about really just the game experience when it comes to concessions and all this different stuff. I don't know, man. It's just kind of crappy right now. Everything is kind of crappy right now, but it's like the ultimate bright spot right now is Trevor Lawrence. If we didn't have Trevor Lawrence, dude, oh my God, I don't know what I would be hanging my hat on when it comes to being optimistic for the Jaguars' future. So Yeah, we'll see. Jaguars are currently 0-5, one of only two teams without wins, them and the Lions. Lions don't have any wins either. And then next week, the Jaguars go to London to play the 1-4 Miami Dolphins. Will the Jaguars win? I mean, probably not. This is probably a get-right game for the Miami Dolphins, but I don't know. So we'll continue to kind of see the rest of the season, see how it plays out. But yeah, thank you guys for being patient with it. This wasn't really much of a recap. It's just, I mean, we all saw yesterday's game. I don't think we need to really break it down too much. Obviously, I thought Trevor played good. Play calling was questionable. Our defensive backs are pretty terrible, and it kind of seems like the gist of it. But thank you guys so much for watching and sticking with this channel. You guys definitely inspire me to keep uploading because these Jaguars definitely don't inspire me. But with that said, drop a like if you guys can for me, and go Jags.